Hey everybody, Comic Crack here again. I'm just recording this again quickly. I just tried once already and it told me that it couldn't process, something went wrong, it wanted me to restart. Checked on my video manager, it says it's still processing, but on the off chance that it doesn't work, I wanted to just record another one. So if this comes up twice, I'll be sure to delete one of them so only one lasts. So I've already opened it in the previous video, obviously, but I came home today and there was another package of stuff that came this time from these guys right here. Birdcage Bottom Books. JT Yost. BirdcageBottomBooks.com. They got a Tumblr site. It's another one of the places that's been bookmarked on my phone for quite a long time, and I've always meant to, I've always checked it out here and there just to kind of see what they have, and always meant to order something, and finally decided to once I saw a couple of titles kind of go away, you know what I mean, they sell out of stuff, so I thought I should jump on some stuff. There was one group of books specifically that I was looking to grab, and I'll show you those in a minute. So I thought I may as well just order up a bunch of shit. I had tried to order some Criterion DVDs from Barnes & Noble in the States because I got a notification from Criterion that Barnes & Noble are having a 50% off sale of Criterion movies in stock. Went on their site, I placed a big order, spent over $100. It all started spiraling downhill. Basically, fuck Barnes & Noble. It was a load of bullshit. I was really pissed off, and I wrote them a couple of really angry emails. None of it was in stock. They were going to send me the one item that they did have when I had chosen the option to send everything at once. I didn't want to pay for one item at a time. I wanted it all to come. They started giving me the runaround on stuff. All of a sudden, everything was in stock, but then 3 days later, oh, now it's out of stock, and it was just this back and forth bullshit. So I canceled the whole order with them. Fuck it, I don't want anything from you. And then I had all this money on this credit card. I've got like this Visa Titanium that you can put money onto it, and then you use it that way. It helps kind of building up some credit. That's a whole other story. So instead I decided to put that money to much better use and buy some comics from some indie publishers, and Birdcage Bottom Books was one of those lucky ones. And I guess because I'd spent a certain amount, they send you a free issue of Snake Pit quarterly. This is number 14, it says. When I've seen this online, it's nothing that's really I don't know, it's nothing that's really interested me, so I never really thought to order it at all. But I mean, for free, whatever, I'll check it out. It looks like this inside. So I mean, who knows, maybe the story will be fantastic. Maybe it'll be shit and it can end up as a kind of prize in some future event. Anyway, so that's that. So one of the books that I wanted to check out for a long time was this called Genus, and I won't even attempt to say the author's name because I don't want to butcher it. So there you go. And here it is. Let's have a look at a couple of pages. It's a very thin book with kind of a heavier card stock for a cover, which kind of disappoints me a little bit. I don't recall reading that it was so few pages, because I can't remember how much these were, but I have a feeling they were like $5 a piece. But whatever, this seems to be the silent issue nonetheless. So there you go, there's a look at that. And then Genus number 2. I believe number 4 just came out, I think, is what it was. I only ordered the first 2 because there were so many books from the site that I wanted to try out. I didn't want to spend all the money on one book, especially if it turned out that I didn't like it. I wanted to try out a few different titles that I've heard about for a long time. I believe I heard about this one on Ink Studs. So there you go. There's a look at those two. From a guy named Nathan Schreiber, something called 4090 Retrofit Comics. So I guess it's something that they distribute at Birdcage. There's a look at the back cover there. Sci-fi tale that, again, heard rumblings that it was pretty good. So thought I'd check out the art in this one, a little black and white book. The art in this one is a little rougher, so we'll see how that sits with me. Just a look at the middle page there. Just a look early on. A little bit Trillium-ish, Jeff Lemire-ish, you know. So there we go. Here's a look at that one. I believe it's just a one-shot. I believe it's just one issue. 2012. Yeah, it doesn't say to be continued or anything, so it looks like that's just a one-off. Something called The Black Sheep by Diego Tripodi. And there you go. There's a look at that little bigger kind of magazine-sized, a little bit of a cheaper produced comic, which is fine. That's not a complaint. It's just a fact. So this one got a little bit dinged just because it's a little bit bigger, and he just packaged it in this kind of envelope, which for stuff like this doesn't bother me at all. I know that drives some people nuts, and I completely understand why. But for books like this, it's not too bad. If it would have been for the Koyama Press stuff that I got yesterday, I would have been a little more ticked off, because that stuff is kind of nicer quality produced material. So, and there's a look at the inside front page. And again, I think this might be one that's going to continue. And it looks like it's from Mad Balmer Press. Oh, and they have a store right there. I'll have to check that out. I didn't know that. I thought that this was a Birdcage Bottom book, published book. Yeah, it's completely ridiculous. Oh, here's a look at some of the stuff on the back page, I guess, that they have. So maybe I'll check out that site too, see what they got. Josh Burgraff, something called A33. I don't know anything about this. I've heard his name quite a few times. Here's a look at the back cover. So I thought I'd give it a shot. There's a little look at the interiors here. Some great colors in this one. Really cool looking style there. There you go. Looks awesome. That looks pretty good. And finally, the one that this was the other one that I had heard about, and this cover is what drew me to it quite a bit. Anthology book called Future Shock. That there's 5, I believe, because I got number 4 and 5, and I think 5 is the newest one. And I think like 1 and 2 are out of print now, I believe. And this one is color comics as well. And again, kind of short stories from a whole bunch of different artists. A whole lot of names that I don't know. So that'll be great. And I really love anthologies. For me, are the best way to go, especially when you're dealing with some of these smaller press publications. I think it's the best thing to do. You get a real taste of everything that they're producing, some of the artists in their stable of artists. And usually there's something that's interesting in it, you know, like that way if one of the stories is crap, it doesn't kind of spoil the whole book for you, you know, because you have plenty of other stories to check out as well. And this one looks pretty fantastic. I love the blue. Yeah, so there you go. That's a look at Future Shock number 4. And Future Shock number 5. And there's the back cover there. And more of the same, you know. Some crazy, fantastic, colorful art. A couple of strange little stories. And I'm Good, and there's another, a genus color. Now, I don't know if this is a reprint of one of the later issues that I just don't have. I don't know exactly where these stories come from, if it's from previously published material or if the artists have created something specifically for this anthology. And they're a decent sized book too. Pretty great. So that's super exciting. Let's see if I can find something else cool to show you. There you go. Looks like a little bit of pen. And yeah, here we go. My man, I love this guy, William Cardini. Love him. I've got a comic that he did, and he's got a really, really great website, hypercastle.com, I think it is, where he has a couple of his books for sale, and he also has a couple of prints too that I would love to get. There's something about his style that really blows me away, especially his color work I really like as well. So there you go. That's the Birdcage Bottom Books haul of stuff. And just a brief word on the Koyama Press stuff that I got yesterday. Larissa had asked me a question. I had responded in the thread, but with YouTube nowadays, I don't know what the hell shows up and what doesn't. When I checked it later on my phone, I saw that my responses to people weren't actually in the comment section, so I don't know if they're getting through to people or not. She'd asked me if Koyama and all the artists related to it were Canadian. Annie Koyama is who started the company in 2007, and she's based out of Toronto. And then Michael DeForge is also based out of Toronto, and he was one of the early people that she published something from. And I think what happens is he turns her on to a lot of artists as well as then she publishes some of his work too. So I know that the two of them for sure are Canadian. Now, I don't know what that means for the rest of their roster because I don't know a lot of the other names, so I couldn't tell you if everybody on there is Canadian. But I would say definitely go and check them out. There's a couple of you that have left comments saying that you're going to check out the website. I'd say if you could find it, just grab it, because from what I've seen on the website and from now what I've seen in person, it's beautifully produced stuff. Really, really amazing. And also from what I've seen on the site, if something goes out of print, it seems like it stays out of print. Like that Mars Attacks thing I was talking about, that's out of print and no sign of that ever coming back. So I have a feeling that once it's done, it's done. She doesn't kind of do second editions or third editions. It's a one-time deal and that's it. Maybe down the road, maybe she'll put something together in a collection. But I'd say jump on it. And apparently Spiro was saying that bookdepository.com had some listed. Sorry if that ruins your whole plan for getting stuff if a couple other people kind of swarm to it now. But apparently that's a great place to deal with anyway. I've heard a couple of you have dealt with them. So yeah, if you can't go to the source like I do, because I'm in Canada, it's a bit easier for me. I'd say try Book Depository, or like I said, check out their site and then follow the links to somewhere close to you. I did read the Michael DeForge Lose, and I'm definitely going to pick up some more of those. I thought it was brilliant. His comics, I think, are really incredible because he really has a knack for kind of being comedic and sort of silly and very strange and very surreal and kind of creepy and serious, and there's all these kind of tones. And what it really reminded me of, it really reminded me of the feeling I got when I first started reading Daniel Clow's 8 Ball, and especially the story Like a Velvet Glove Cast in Iron was one of my all-time favorites that he did. I thought it was amazing, the tone that he had in that book, and to be able to get that kind of tone in a comic book to me is really impressive. And DeForge does the exact same thing. There was moments where I was laughing, and there was moments where it was kind of creepy and surreal. This one story about kind of centered around this S&M type of club, but the club kind of infects you, and it's the spore that grows inside of you and starts changing you, and your skin peels off to reveal this kind of leather-bound creature. So he mixes all that with some of his psychedelic drawings, and it's incredible. And then he also mixes in some stories that are kind of written as if it's like a nature show. Hinterland's Who's Who. For those of you who are Canadian and know that, that's kind of what there was one about the spotted deer that kind of had a tone like that, and the one in this Lose was about Canadian royalty, which I thought was pretty brilliant as well too. About how the children are sanded from an early age, so eventually their skin becomes really smooth, and once they reach a certain age, they get outfitted with these clothes and all this elaborate garb that then renders their body useless, because they wear the clothes all the time, and it just allows for them to have no muscle mass and become completely useless if they get outside of this clothing. And I thought it was just really good because it was done in a very kind of analytical, like, here's the history of this sort of oddity in Canadian society. So I thought that was pretty great. And then, of course, the Fata Morgana I've kind of looked through now a few times, so I guess I've sort of read it because it is all just silent panels, and it's beautiful. Every single time I looked through it, it's unbelievable. It's really, really well done. So that's a high recommendation, that one, if you love kind of really bold, colorful, weird, monstery, psychedelic type of images. It's really, really cool. And tonight I'll try to read the last one there. The name of it escapes me right now. So anyway, high praise for Koyama. High praise and a big shout out to Birdcage Bottom Books. They did a really nice job. Really nice guy to deal with. He emailed me right away when just one of the comics was not available from him, so he contacted the artist directly, and they shipped out an issue to him just for my order. Everything came really quickly. It's a pleasure dealing with these small publishers. I really, really love it. As much as I love all the Marvel books that I read and the Image books that I read and a lot of the mainstream stuff, which I do love, there's something extra exciting about discovering these small press publishers and supporting. Basically, a lot of the times when I order this stuff, I'm ordering it directly from the artist, or somebody really close to the artist, like a friend of theirs, basically, who's started up this publishing company just so they could publish their friends' comics. And you always get something really cool. I mean, there's definitely been some misses over the years, for sure there has. But there's been a lot of hits. There's been a lot of artists that I've discovered through these that I love to this day, like William Cardini being one of them that I mentioned. As soon as I saw his stuff, that brought me to his site. That brought me to getting anthologies that appears in, which then that leads to other artists through those anthologies, and it just kind of runs away on you. So it's really cool to see that kind of stuff still exists, like from the rip-off press days. Zap Comics and like the Drawn and Quarterly stuff from Montreal. It's really nice that people are still doing this, and people are still really pushing the art form and that sort of thing. Yeah, that's all I got to say. Thanks a lot. And I have internet, by the way. I got internet, I got cable TV, I got home phone line. So hopefully now it's just going to be easier for me to do videos and participate. I'm hoping to be on the Comic Book Roundtable this Friday. I had already sent in a message to Travis last week just to kind of give him the heads up that I was curious, or that I was interested to be on, because he'd kind of put a general invite out there. So let's hope it all works out and I make it on there. I'm really planning to. Tomorrow I'm going to go down to the comic shop to make sure that I read everything, and because Black Science comes out this week, so that's one of the main reasons I want to be on this weekend's show, because I want to see what everybody thinks of that and have a discussion on that, because I really feel like it's going to be something that impresses me. So yeah, if you're around, tune in, and I'll see y'all later. Thanks a lot.